Alright folks, how's it going there? Back for the second session. So first order of business, happy Mother's Day to basically all the mothers out there. Thanks very much for joining us. If this is your second time coming back, thank you very much for that. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes here just to let people get in before we get stuck in. So yeah, first of all, just a bit of a sort of a point of order of what we're going to be doing today. Going to recap on what we were doing yesterday, then cover a nice little finger picking pattern that I sort of developed for you. Well, not developed, sort of just come up with over the last wee while. With a wee B minor chord and a nice sort of shifting bass line that hopefully you will like and enjoy. And yeah, then I will take you through one of my all-time guilty pleasure favourite tunes, which is Push the Button by the Sugar Babes. I love it, and everybody loves the Sugar Babes, and I think you're only lying to yourself if you say that you don't, because you do. So I'm just going to drink this tea here, get that done, as you know. Can't start off, so come in, there's room at the back of the class there, room at the front of the class. Who's got the apples and whatnot for me? So yeah, again, thank you very much for everybody that tuned in last to the last sort of episode on Friday there. Quite successful, we got a good turnout, and yeah, appreciate everybody who gave me a few bob for my troubles. I really appreciate that. Now I didn't get a chance to put the tabs for the last exercises up yet, but they will be up later on tonight, along with the finger picking pattern that I'm about to do here for you. So yeah, I'll just noodle for a wee while you are my breakdown, my emotional breakdown, Ali. So I'll just noodle here while you are getting involved, you know. I know I have some minions out there, they're going to be sharing the video left, right and centre for me, so I appreciate that. So, where's the Sugar Babes outfit? Oh no, mate, don't even. I was debating whether to get the old skimpy outfit on, you know. Myself and Mick, obviously we are the we are the String Ninjas, and we were actually booked in to a couple of video shoots. Actually today, Jesus, now that I realised today, but obviously that's not going ahead anymore. But one of the songs we are going to be doing is Sugar Babes, and I have a very a fetching idea for that video. So yeah, basically the way I want to work it is we've recorded, and then every time it cuts away from me to Mick and then back, I'm more glammed up as we go on. So by the end of the thing, I'm in like full neon lipstick fucking outfit, you know. So yeah, so again guys, if you just joined us, thank you very much for stopping by, and hopefully you learned something out of this, hopefully you get something out of it. Just check there with you guys, is the levels of everything okay? Can you see that? Does that all sound very nice to you? Alright then, so we'll just get started here and see who trickles in as we go. So just to recap what we did on Friday there, we were sort of talking about the basics of the sort of the percussion snare sound, the sort of quintessential snare sound that you would get pretty much in all fingerstyle playing at some point or another. There's going to be the percussion snare sound, which was demonstrated by this lovely thumb action here. So it's essentially just taking my thumb, tapping it to the side. Then we were looking at the sort of the drone E with adding that snare in the fourth or the third as the third note. So we were starting off with, and then on the third one we were adding in that snare sound. So That's what we were developing that, and then we were also looking at adding the E minor chord and adding an upstroke to it, an up pluck. I think it was how I had described it. So it was basically. And then we were talking about putting the downstroke in as well to go along with the beat. So again, it seems like I'm doing a lot of things at once, but I'm not. I'm sort of just doing them all in sequence right after each other, and that's how we sort of create a groove, you know. So again, I've noticed that John has shared this in various social media groups. So thank you very much, John, for doing that. But if anybody is watching this that aren't from, you know, England, Ireland, Wales, Northern Ireland, I apologise for the accent, and hopefully if you stick with us, hopefully what I say will start to make sense in the end. But yeah, so that was just a quick recap of what we're doing. Then we were looking at sort of different ways to play the classic Hit the Road Jack, which was the song that we were covering, and basically the different ways of sort of playing something that's repetitive, playing it in different ways as we go. So the way we had started that off was A minor, G major, F major, E, and we were. So that was just giving you like a sort of a rough demonstration of how to play something that's very repetitive, but play it sort of differently for yourself to keep it interesting for you and for the listener. I must point out that these sort of fingerstyle classes that I'll be doing will be directed more to singer-songwriters and people that maybe fingerstyle guitarists that are doing accompaniment to other instruments or other performers. Because obviously that's what I've been doing, and I have to sort of teach from my own perspective. So yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do for you is a little finger. Cheers, Tommy. Thank you. A little sort of finger picking exercise. I'll try and get this sort of angled here. Maybe bring that in a wee touch for you. So there you go. So basically, what we're going to be doing here is a sort of finger picking pattern. Around a B minor chord. So basically your B minor is your barring for the B note on the A string there, 2nd fret, barring that whole thing, and then you're doing you are putting you're fretting the 4th fret on the D and the G string, and the 3rd fret on the B string there. What we're doing with this one is, to give it that sort of airy feel, is leaving the E open, so you've got this, rather than, you know, you're leaving that F sharp out and just leaving it as an E. And what we're going to be doing with this is we're going to be alternating the bass on each repetition. So basically I'm going to play it for you quickly, and then we'll go through the right hand and the left hand. So it's a So yeah, so as you can see, it's a nice wee sort of airy fairy thing. There's not too much movement on the left hand, and it's sort of, again, it keeps it interesting. You're playing a B minor chord, but you're sort of alternating that bass as you go. So the real key to this is the right hand, obviously the finger picking movement. So yeah, we'll go through that now. And we'll say, so basically we're fretting our B minor, leaving the E open at the bottom to give you that sort of airy sound to it. And basically what we're going to be doing is picking on the root note and going, that's the first part. So, and then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be making that snare sound just in above the A string, because that's where your next sort of notes come from. So you go. So just to break that down, so you've got. So that's your first sort of part of the pattern. So what we've got is. So what you're doing there is you're. After the snap, the snare sound, you're plucking the root note again, and you're plucking the E and the D notes, so the E and the B string on the way back down. So you're going, and that's essentially the pattern that we're going to be focusing on here. So very, very simple. Terms of fingerstyle playing. So yeah, we've got that. So the next one is we're going to be taking the finger off here, off the B note, and letting the A ring out. But now we're going to be adding that F sharp on the bottom strings, just to give it a wee bit of a difference. So just to play it in contact. So it's the same pattern, exactly the same pattern. The only difference is you're taking your index finger off the B and letting the A note ring out, and then you're adding that F sharp in at the bottom there. So yeah, so what we'll have so far is, and that'll move on, and basically that's going to be the pattern. Once you get that right hand down, you can basically play the whole thing. It's just a case of adding and taking away a note. So the next section of that would be to add in the F sharp on the bass. It's exactly the same pattern. You're hitting the F sharp, slap. So just a recap there. So we've got the pattern is for the very start of the riff is you're hitting on the B note, then you're going down, and that's it. So. I tend to leave that little D on the B note there ringing out, just to add a wee bit of a, because you're expecting the do, you know, for the end of it. So if you, so yeah, that's basically the finger picking exercise that we were sort of going through. And again, I'll go through that slowly one more time for you, and again recap what we were doing beforehand. Thank you for the love there, and sort of apply that. So. Cheers, Joe. Thank you very much, mate. As I say, as the lessons sort of go on, we will go into stuff that's more difficult, and yeah, hopefully stuff is more challenging. If you apply this to the techniques that I was sort of showing you in the last video on Friday, where you were doing the sort of, I called it the penguin hand. You know, you've got the thumb and the three fingers, so you're basically bass and chord. Bass chord is the pattern you would sort of do that, and the downstroke, which we were doing as well, which is the combination of a downstroke with the percussion element. And it's something again that I've been finding that a lot of the students that I have are finding that quite difficult to sort of comprehend. But once you nail it, you know, the world's your oyster. So yeah, so we'll take this from the top again, and we'll see what we can do with it. Just to mess about it, show you different variations. Again, it's the same chord, the bass line's moving, and nothing else really is moving. In terms of your left hand, there's not really much movement, but it's to get the sort of maximum effect from doing very little. Essentially, less is more, as they say. So we'll take that start from the right hand position here. So you've got your B minor, but you're leaving the E open to give you that sort of that nice airy rather than the sort of sound. So basically, we're doing the A, or the. I'll refer to it in terms of the strings that we're plucking here. So A, D, G, B, snare, A, E, B. So. And that's the pattern we're going for here. then what we're doing on the sort of the second part of that is we're opening that A, we're taking the B, or the index finger off the B note, and we're adding in the F sharp note that we had left out on the E string there. So you've got, this is the next one. Then what we're doing is we're taking the index finger off the F sharp note on the high, on the E string there, and we're putting it onto the F sharp note on the bass. So it's essentially the same notes, but just, you know, you're inverting it and you're giving it a bit more atmospheric. So that's exactly the same thing, but instead of going and running down the A string as your second note, you're skipping it and you're going straight to the D string. So, and then for the last section of that riff, you're going to the G note. And what I do for this one is I do add the A into this. So it gives you that, it's a very sort of, I don't know what to describe it, it's an emotional chord sequence, if that makes sense, you know, and it has a has a bit of pain to it, but not, you know, not overly sad or anything else. So you've got, so basically in context. So yeah, so that's the sort of the basic finger picking pattern there that you're going to be doing. So hopefully you've got that. Now I will be tabbing this out, so I'm actually recording this at the minute, so there will be rough tabs and rough records there for anybody that wants them. If they're looking to sort of get into that pattern, I'll be able to do that for you, no problem. So yeah, now what we can do is add some of the techniques that we were talking about on Friday, which was the sort of the downward stroke and percussion, and also the upward pluck to that rhythm. And again, once you match the groove and the rhythm, you can basically do whatever you want with it, as long as you hit the sort of key points, which are the bass net, which is the bass notes really. So you can. So you can do a lot with it, and again, it's all about sort of maximising the efficiency, if this makes sense, of the chord itself. So yeah, hope you're enjoying that there anyway, and if there's any questions, feel free to shoot them, any guitar players out there. Again, I would appreciate any feedback. I say this is all a learning curve really at the minute. So the first one went quite well. I got a new wee daily there to hold my phone. I've got the recording equipment set up, so we'll see how this all goes. So yeah, but I suppose I'll get to the part that you're all here for, which is to listen to the Sugar Babes or to work out how to play the Sugar Babes. So yeah, unless anybody has any questions as to what we were covering there so far. No, all good. All right, then. Right. So Sugar Babes, one of my all-time guilty pleasures. They're amazing. Let's face it, when we all thought there was going to be a reunion there at Christmas, I lost the plot. I thought it was going to be. It's one of those things that if anybody buys me a ticket to any show, I'll always be like, you know, whatever. If you say I've got Sugar Babes tickets, I'm going. I don't care. I'm getting the drinks in for you. So right, the song we're going to cover is Push the Button, and it sort of employs a couple of different techniques that hopefully you will like. So basically what we'll do is we'll go over the sort of the basics of the song itself and the chords, and then I'll show you how I've sort of developed it past that to add some of the percussion elements and whatnot in. So just turn my bass up here a wee bit for you. It's much better. So right, from what I remember when I learned it, the original Sugar Babes song is, cheers Derek, thank you very much mate, hopefully everybody's all well in Glasgow. So basically when I learned it, I remember it was in a sort of a weird key. I always try and transpose it into something that's quite easy to play. I think it was in an F sharp major last time, so I just moved it up to G. So basically the chords are G, A minor, and D. So the main sort of a so that's North Wales. Hopefully these are all getting okay over there. So yeah, that's basically the sort of the rhythm of the song and the basics of it. So now I'll show you what I did to change it up a bit for you, which was basically it's a sort of a bass technique. If you ever watch any bass players, they always use the octaves when they're playing sort of stuff. So they've got that. So basically what I did was I took the G major chord and I left most of it out, and basically just took the G root note and the other G root note here an octave up, and I applied my sort of patented kick snare technique, which is, so that was the technique. That's basically going to be the rhythm that we're going to be using for this. And again, from what I was saying on Friday, the way I do that is you've got the kick here, you've got the snare there, and you've got the hi-hat in the middle. So you're going kick, hi-hat, snare, hi-hat, kick, hi-hat, snare, hi-hat, kick, hi-hat, snare, hi-hat. This one's slightly different because I'm going to be also employing this little bad boy here, the index finger, and we're going to be plucking. So we're not technically muting and using the hi-hat in the middle, we're going to be plucking the chord. So it's going to be... basically got that sort of like that upstroke ska sort of sound to it. So alright Joel, how's it going, mate? You should be on here teaching me. I need to learn some lead. So yeah, basically, so that's the sort of the breakdown. So you've got your chords G, A minor, and D, and then we are basically taking the root notes. Okay, so okay, right, well, okay, John, I'll play what it is now. I'm going to try and, I'll not sing because I wouldn't do that to you, but I will hum, you know, at a low level for myself here to keep me going. So right, basically this is... So that's basically the sort of groove we're going for. So I'm going to explain to you how to break that down. So we've got the main chords, which is your barred G major, A minor, D major, and we are focusing on the root note and the root note again an octave up. So basically, if I can get this in quiet for you, so 3rd fret, 5th fret, skipping over. So essentially it's a power chord without the middle there. So yeah, so we're basically going to be applying then this technique. So as we're going between the two, so you're going and then plucking the 2 strings, hitting there, plucking the 2 strings. So in between each of the beats you have almost gives you that sort of ska feel to it. So my next sort of way of thinking was, because the chords are quite repetitive and I'm only really playing the bass note, I'm able to sort of move and slide into them. So for the first part, obviously the G's there, so it's you know, you're playing it for quite a bit of time. So it's kind of boring, you know, you want to add something to it to sort of spice it up a wee bit. So this is where I've been sliding into the notes and into the chords and moving and sort of joining them up at certain chromatically joining them up at certain points. So basically we're starting off with the G, so you've got, and then what I do is I that, and it's as simple as that, you know, it's nothing fancy, but it's an effective thing to keep the audience sort of listening and keeping their ear going. So you've got basically in context, and it adds that sort of element of funkiness to it, you know. Now after that, what you got is the A minor, the A note that you're going to be going to. So instead of just going straight to the A note, you want to slide into it again. So you want to go, again, you're playing on that funkiness. So within context, you've got, so for that one I go down to the G and up into the A note there. And then, so after that we've got the D major. But instead of playing the D major, what I like to do is, or the D sort of route, I like to run down the scale, because you're going to go back into the G major via the slide of the F sharp. So what you want to do is, so you're going from the D to the C to the B to the A, and then, so you've got this sort of, you know, this sort of funky half chromatic, you know, you're adding things in here and you're just making it a bit more interesting. Oh, there we go. Hey Gerarda, thanks for the shout there. So yeah, apologies there for the connection. I suppose probably because every musician on the planet is doing a live stream right now, so the internet, the bandwidth is, you know, it's very precious. So yeah, just to recap what we were doing there, if you've just joined us, push the button, Sugar Babes, breaking it down into the sort of the main chords, G major, A minor, D major, and then what we were doing is we were just hitting the root note and the octave, and we were applying the kick and snare, the boots and cats technique. And what we were doing is in between the and the, you're plucking the root and the E and the D string, and then as you build that up, so yeah, there's loads you can do with that technique on its own. Then what we were doing was talking about sliding in and going in and changing in between chords without making it boring for you and the audience. So what we were doing is sliding from the F sharp into the G, and then you would sort of apply your technique there. So yeah, the real thing that I love about that song in particular is the little breakbeat right at the end of the bar. Just that's the little bit. So it's just 4/4 standard beat the whole way through, and just right at the end of the bar there's that little sort of that little break, and that's what gets me every time. That's what gets me rigid. So yeah, so we're going to look in how to do that. So basically what we've been doing was, you know, the bass line here. So we've got, so basically my thinking is, you're gonna get a note out of the strings from doing, you know, the percussion and whatnot on it. So to just mimic the breakbeat over the last sort of note there. So what we're doing there is, so you're doing that double kick, but when you're doing your snare sound, you're sort of drumming the strings along with it. And then you're going back to your original 4/4 on the way, or on the last wee quarter. and that's basically the first part. Now the second bit of that, which is the sort of the bridge, I would say, you know, that as you waiting patiently for me to etc etc. That bit has a nice wee if you're listening to the track in the background, it has like a little ascending sort of scale in the background, and again it's all based around the same chords the whole way through. So this is slightly different. So what I would do is you get your G here, and what you're going to be doing is, so basically that we scale in the background to D, E, F sharp, G, just on the open G there. So when you apply that, it's exactly the same technique. You're doing this sort of, you know, this finger and thumb. You're still applying that, and it's still on the same string. You would sort of on the last little bit of that, the G, because you've got your G, your B, and your D here, you can just basically strum that down on that last thing to give you that sort of, you know, the chord strum essentially, because you've been leaving it out the whole way through because you're only playing the root notes. So in context, so you're getting that strum just at the end there, because it's, you know, you've got your G chord there, you've got your D, your G, and your B, which is a G chord anyway. So again, you apply the same technique to the next chord, which again is the A minor. So instead of going up here and doing it, which you could by all means do it from there, what I like to do is go down to the open A. So you're basically doing the same ascending scale, and then you are just changing the bass note to an A. So again, in context, what I like to do for that last wee bit is leave that sort of scale out and go to the D major itself. But what I'm doing is I'm putting my thumb over the top here to give you that sort of really warm and D major sound. So basically you're inverting the note here up to the top. So yeah, that's essentially the song in a nutshell. Now obviously it does take you a long time. The main thing to sort of take from that is the technique. That is the main sort of takeaway from it, and I do apply that technique to a lot of the songs I do. Now there is variations that you can do, which involves like muting the whole strings, like sort of thing. So you can, once you get the sort of basics of that, you can then start developing it as you go, and it's just a case of just listening to the drum beat and just trying to mimic it, like as if you were, you know, like if you hear a drum like 4/4, you're doing that, but essentially you're doing it. Right, so you're just trying to mimic it. So the fingering for the two little runs again. Yes, Scott, no problem. So basically what we're doing, middle finger on the G note, your bass note here. Let's see if we can get an angle here for you. So, and then what we're doing here is on the D string, open D, then you've got an E, then you've got your F sharp, and then your G, which is open. Or you could do it whatever way you want. But again, on that last G, you give it a wee, like you just strum down. So that, because you've got the open notes there playing a G for you, and again it's the same thing for the second one, which is only this time you're starting on the E note on the D string, and then so again I'll play that in context. What I'll do is I'll play the two parts together. So So that's the sort of thing. And again, for that D, because it's all about like mixing it up and replacing parts with other parts and trying to keep it interesting for the audience and again for yourself, because it is such a repetitive song. And I'm pretty sure if you were going, and just strumming the chords out as you would be, like as you see so many people doing, it does get kind of boring. But again, they're focusing on their voice. But I think this adds like an extra element to the song, and for such a basic song in terms of structure, you're really livening it up for people. So and I think that's one of the reasons why the String Ninjas have been doing so well, because we're taking very simple basic songs that you hear everywhere. Like actually saying that, I've yet to hear anybody cover the Sugar Babes out and about. And we're just trying to rework it in a sense that we're giving people what they want, but at the same time we're changing it up to sort of make it different and define ourselves, or define the music that we play. So people, it's just a cover band. We do a lot more than that, and I will show you things like what we're doing, like Shaka Khan, and we do so for example Fade to Black, Nothing Else Matters, all that sort of stuff. We do change it, and we do working together. Fade to Black I'm quite proud of, because it uses that kick technique quite well. It's just 4 chords that, it's just how you approach them and how you do. Alright, Cal, I know, but don't worry, we'll be at the wedding. Don't worry, once you're allowed, once we're all allowed out of our houses, we'll be there for you. Not a problem. But yeah, again, it's just taking a new approach to and looking at things differently. Like, what can I do to change this up? How can I still keep the main components of the song, but make it interesting and make it sort of unique to my sort of style of playing? And I think a lot of players as well, they compare themselves to other players. I want to do it like that, and I want to do it like this, which is all well and good. You should definitely learn other people's music, but always play to your own strengths. I can't play fast lead, so this is, I've sort of adapted myself to sort of what can I do with chords, and can I pick out little things here, and rhythm wise, which is just, it's a bit more rewarding for me rather than going, I wish I could do lead all the time. Don't get me wrong, I can do little lead runs and all, but not to the extent of some other folks. Yeah, so we'll just recap on that there. So basically we have Push the Button, Sugar Babes, fantastic song. We all agree on that. There's not a problem with that. So breaking it down into the main sections, the main chords. There's 2 sections really that are played in different at different times. You've got the main verse, then you've got the bridge, and then it sort of goes back into the main verse again and repeats itself. So the chords are G major, A minor, D major. Now what we're doing is we're taking the root notes and we're playing them as a bass line and applying our technique. That's the thing. And what we're doing is kick, plucking at the same time, snare, pluck, kick, pluck, snare, pluck. And yeah, and that's what we're going, and we're doing that, and then we're adding basically some chromatic notes and slides into the bass line that we're playing to spice it up a bit. So that wee break beat in that is in part of the song, which is the quintessential sort of part of the song. So, and we're adding that into the C, the B note, sorry, excuse me. So the break note, and the way to play that is, so you're hitting that, so it's a double kick sort of. That's the sort of the pattern that we're focusing on here. The second part is the same root notes, but we've got the added little scale in the background, the little ascending scale in the background. So we've got D chord. And you've got your sort of breakbeat in there as well. So yeah, there's a lot you can do with just 3 chords, you know. And again, don't forget for the D on the main sort of part, we're adding that sort of descending run, so because we're going to slide back into the G. So you've got, so that's your sort of your kicker there for it. So yeah, that's essentially the song. Push the Button by the Sugar Babes. Again, I think it's in F sharp major originally, but I just moved it up a semitone into G, which was nice, you know. But again, you can play it so many different ways, you know, and you nice wee strummy, jazzy sort of. So much you can do with it because it is such a basic song. There's so much you can do with it because it is such a jazzy wee song. So yeah, again, if there's any questions on that, let us know now, and forever hold your peace, as they say. I've been working on sort of, again, there will be tabs for all this here. Shoebiz one's going to take me a wee bit longer, because I do think it relies more on the sort of the visual aspect of the kick and the snare sort of thing. So that's sort of down to your sort of hand movements and for you to sort of get the groove of. But in terms of the fretting, I can do that no problem. And again, I know there's probably a few bass players watching this, but you can do this on the bass as well, because it, obviously not the chords, but the sort of the crux of the song you can do on the bass, because it is essentially, I'm trying to play it like a bass, but adding that sort of percussion and the rhythm element to it. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. So again, I'll try and get the tabs. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's been hectic, so I'm going to play some Battlefield here for an hour or two after, and then I will put up the tabs. I'll get the tabs sorted for today's lesson and for Friday's one, and get them up for Monday, so you can have a wee look at that. I have to decide on what song I want to do for the next one. I want to keep it simple. There is some really, there is some more like sort of technically harder stuff and chordy stuff that requires a bit more thought in terms of the chord. But again, because I'm only starting out these lessons, I want to try and keep it simple for you, so that I'm not tripping over myself or anything out there. Even trying to do that was a bit hard for us. So yeah. So just to recap on the start there, from what we were doing, the little exercise that we were looking at was the in this one. So again, that pattern was, it's a B minor chord pattern with the E left out the ring, and we've got, so basically you're doing root note down, so you're going A string, D string, G string, B string, then followed by a snare hit, A string, then your open E and your B string. So then of course after that you've got your A, your open A now instead of the B, and you're going down with your finger here to the F sharp there. Same pattern. Then you're going to move up to the F sharp up here and leave your E open again. And then move that back up to the G. So all in all you've got well. Thank you, Andy. I say it's kind of hard doing this because, like, you know, I'm not a formal teacher or anything, so I'm trying to plan things and trying to work around and sort of explain how I see music and how I've sort of adapted over the time. And I say it's kind of hard to try and keep that sort of interesting and break it down to its sort of simplest form for you. So yeah, hopefully that has been a bit more helpful for you. Again, you can apply that once you get that right hand technique down. You can apply it to sort of any chords, you know. I think it's feeling good. You know, etc. Yeah, so I hope you've got something out of that. Again, if anybody is able to contribute, please do. I say, buy me a virtual pint. Send me nothing imported. Domestic is okay. So a wee £3 tip would be very much appreciated. But yeah, that's that. So what I'm going to do for you now is play something that I've been working on. So I was thinking about with this today. I was playing with it the other week with John Tracy, and it's basically the classic Pink Panther. So I'm going to have a wee go at that for you. So basically, I sort of swung the rhythm a wee bit. I changed a couple of the phrasing of the notes, and yeah, I will end up doing this in a lesson further on down the line. So yeah, I'll just have a wee go at it here and see what you think anyway. Folks, that's pretty much what time are we at here? 10 past 10. So again, if there's any questions on anything you will want me to do, anything that you just want me to look at, possibly any songs or anything like that, please give us a shout. I'm trying to think, probably do another one of these on Tuesday if you're about, and I'm probably going to be covering some of this sort of stuff, you know. It's much easier than you would think. think for the next sort of session I'm going to cover Tetris. This will be more aimed at the fingerstyle guitars. A lot of guys will know how to play this because it's just quintessential sort of fingerstyle songs. Etc. So yeah, hopefully you can join in. Again, if anybody's feeling generous and they feel they've learned something out of this, and give us a shout. Again, I will be doing the tabs later on. If anybody's playing Battlefield 1 on Xbox Live, musical mayhem, check us out, and sure we can go and take some D together, you know. But thanks very much, folks. I hope you enjoyed or got something out of this anyway. I'm bloody knackered. I'll see you all on Tuesday. Hopefully keep an eye out the event. Check us out at Gavin First Official on all the usual platforms and whatnot. And I'll be doing more of these. There will be we'll be doing more complicated stuff as we go along. So hope you all enjoy anyway, and see you later. Bye.